Okay, One Piece chapter 1124. I don't want to say the official end to Egghead, but it feels like that. It feels like we're kind of packed up and getting out of here. Straw Hats are gone. We're on the way to ELBAF. It says in the chapter, but there's some things we got to address in this chapter because I don't know. I keep feeling inclined to say episode. I don't know what's going on. Some things happen in this chapter that we got to address. Quite a few things happen in this chapter. Start off with the cover story. Yamato kind of torts a kidnapping. Looks like a woman. I'm like, the heck, a woman? Who the heck is this? I'm like, Hiyori already kidnapping Kurozumi? I don't know. It was very interesting cover story because Yamato is out here doing the good deeds. I'm interested in where it's gonna go. But let's get to the chapter. Some interesting talking points. I was literally wondering where Big News was because I thought Big News would get there before everything was done. I thought Big News would definitely get there. Big News is now pulling up and Big News he wants to scoop. And Vivi, I don't know, she's kind of over it all. She's like, okay, the world is about to sing, the world is about to end. I'm not about to grovel at your feet like Wapple is. Because Wapple, he's just trying to survive, bro. He just so, let's just say it, he's pussy, right? He doesn't want to die. And he understands Big News is keeping them safe because nobody knows where they are. And so he's just like, yo, whatever you want, Big News, let me stroke your fur. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird seeing Wapple like this, but my man, you want to live. I'm not mad at it. I'm not saying I'm mad at it. All right. Now, maybe I'm overstating this. Or I'm overthinking it. But Vivi, when she was talking to Big News, I'm not sure if because she was going back at Big News, he had some women in the back, just, with the hard eyes and the hearts just fluttering everywhere. I'm like, is this because of Vivi? I doubt it's because of Big News. Like, who the hell is in love with Big Bird unless we kids in Sesame Street? Other than that, I think it is Vivi, and I don't want to jump to conclusions, but maybe Vivi be a conqueror. I don't know. She's gonna be special. Vivi's special, obviously. So that was an interesting thing. It's very obscure. It doesn't matter at all. Just saw it. I was like, I did like Big News going back through the stories. Because now I'm like, okay, what does he know? He knows everything. Law versus Blackbeard, Shanks versus Eustace, Luffy actually killing Vegapunk. That's the story, right? That Luffy kills Vegapunk, which he's still running with it. It's like, that's a good story. She's like, yo, like, what's the problem? Big News. Okay, when we take a step back, is Big News good or bad for the world? I think in general, it's entertainment. People are always going to flood to the World Economic Journal, but is it good for the world? Not necessarily, because he has his own agenda. He's not reporting unbiased news. It is whatever fits his agenda and whatever is the most popular. What's going to generate the most clicks? He's like social media kids, right? It's like, yo, it's, it might be a little clickbaity, might be just wrong, and like, it might just be non-factual, but he doesn't care. It's new, and I got the big news, I got the scoop. So, Big News is not a character that I hate, but not necessarily an endearing character to me right now. Oda does a good job of setting the mood and the tone of a setting with certain different things, right? Different shots where he doesn't just jump right into a scene. It's like, okay, it's a wide shot showing the destruction, showing everything that's going on. Then he jumps into Kizaru picking up the Denden Mushi. It accentuates him being alone and having this moment to himself to take it all in and indulge. And I think it was a great start. It's not, in actuality, when you see it, it doesn't feel like that big of a deal. When I went back through the chapter, I was like, yo, that was a really great way to segue us into this moment with Kizaru and Akainu that made it all the more impactful. This Kizaru moment, everybody's knocked out. Gorosei pulled up, they got sent back. Joy Boy's hockey just flooded the world, right? And here comes Akainu. Borsalino, what are you doing? Are you not slacking off? He's like, yo, you're awfully loud, right? And Kizaru, for the most part, he just been sitting there. Was it intentional? Was it not? I've been telling y'all for the past year plus that a lot of the things Kizaru's been doing has been intentional. It's just been intentional considering his situation. And I'm not even gonna blame a lot of you guys because you can't read. It's okay. Like literally some people just can't read. And it's not just about reading the words, like not literally read. You just don't understand reading. Right? Sometimes that should get me too, where I may misinterpret things. But I feel like sometimes people get so caught up in their own thoughts and how they feel about certain things, how they feel about certain characters. Logic just goes out the window and it's all about, no, he sucks. Kizaru sucks. He's weak. Get him out of here. And it's like, is that what the story is telling us though? And then, it goes to the internet words, internet fads, cope, mid, glaze. Bro, let's actually look at the story and see what we're reading. So now this chapter laid it all out, right? So Tamaru's out of there. Kizaru's seeing the destruction and he doesn't even, bro, he's so over it at this point. Not over it, but he's so out of it. When I say over it, would mean that he's done with the Marines. He's not over it. He's out of it. He's so out of it. He's like, yo, I'm not even gonna, this ain't the details. I'm not here for that, right? I'll let them tell you when they get up. I am an admiral. I'm not the reporting guy. I don't come and record information. Bro, they'll tell you when they get up. This is his boss he's talking, right? His superior. And Borsellino, you better not be slacking off again, which that goes with his nature, to kind of slack off and kind of let things play its course until he gets mad. And then he asked the question, Sakazuki, have you ever killed your best friend? Which is interesting. I think this gets lost a little bit, but this isn't talked about. Actually, we'll save that for the Kizaru. But I enjoyed that question because it's straight from the norm, because every time the interactions with the Kainu and Kizaru, it's been duty. Do you need me to do this? What do you need? Oh, that's fine. I got it. It's been one of duty. So with this question, it automatically pulls the audience in because it's like, wait, what? And Sakazuki doesn't know how to respond to something like that. At this point, he's just like, just angry face. And then we see flashbacks, thoughts, Kizaru and Vegapunk. And this whole setup between Kizaru and Vegapunk, it was supposed to be a fad, but he ended up helping Vegapunk set up Egghead, right? Spending a lot of time with him. We saw some of the flashback with him in Sentomaru, where he essentially raised Sentomaru with Vegapunk, right? That was their orphan child. And so you see all these flashbacks, you see all these moments between the two, and then you see him kill his best friend. And you think back throughout the entire arc, how things were conveniently happening where Vegapunk just kept surviving, kept living, Kizaru just kept failing. Even when he had Vegapunk right in front of him, dead to rights, he had this conversation like, Vegapunk, are you really ready to? This man was conflicted. And again, this is something that we talk about all the time on the channel, and people push back. People got something to say when he's like, bro, look a bit deeper. Bro, it's cope, it's mid, it's cope. No, the story is telling us there are other things at play, bro. Like, bro, is he gonna have to spell it out with Kuzan and Garp the way he's doing it here? I thought it was obvious in Egghead. I thought it was obvious in Hachinosu. For some people, they don't see that at all. I'm like, bro, what are we reading? Are we not reading? So in general, One Piece, the more and more I think about it, I've mentioned this to you guys, it's a story of nuance. It's romance, right? But for us, the readers, take a step back, it's about nuance, considering what happens with nuance, conversation, disagreement. It runs up the numbers, essentially, because with nuance, you can come up with your own interpretation. And more often than not, you're gonna have a lot of people with their own interpretations, especially people that can't read. So Oda is the master of it. Even in this situation, the response might be, well, even though he was conflicted, how did you know that made him weaker? But Garp specifically said hesitation makes you weak. Rayleigh specifically says hesitation makes you, yeah, but not in this situation. Bro, that's not even a point at the end of the day, is if he's weaker or not. The whole point is you had this man that was just tasked with killing his best friend, and he followed through with it. And then after that, he was just done. There wasn't much there after that. I don't know. I feel like sometimes we remove like the human side. These characters are supernatural, right? They're monsters. At the end of the day, they're supposed to be human. And the human element, vulnerability, hesitancy, complacency, those things exist within humans. And just because they're monsters doesn't absolve them of that. And Kizaru is somebody like that. Again, I don't want to get too deep into this Kizaru thing because I want to have a specific video on Kizaru and his performance. Not performance, his character throughout Egghead. I think his performance aside, that's not the focus of it. But for right now, this is one of the more impactful panels we've gotten from a Marine next to Kobe. I think even we have a few panels with Kuzan. It's showing that even in the midst of these people serving the wrong side, they have a lot of human elements to them. Now, the contrast is that, bro, you know the game. You should understand the game. How many people have you killed? Kizaru, right? How many people have the world government? You don't get to be this. You don't get to have these emotions and say, yo, I killed my best friend. How many other people's best friends have the Marines killed, the world government killed? How many people best friends were killed from Lelouchia? Now, that's a separate conversation, and I'm gonna give Kizaru the room to have these emotions and have these feelings because they're valid, and those conversations exist about how it impacted his performance. But buddy, this is what you signed up for. Essentially, you were playing this role. Again, it's heavy, but it feels wrong, right? Considering who you work for. But I really enjoy this moment, obviously. The statement he made to Akainu, some people are looking at it as a threat, saying he threatened Akainu to come to egg. I don't know. I'm taking that as him saying, bro, like he's almost crashing out. You know, like he's pissed at everything going on. He's yelling at his superior. And I'm sure Akainu has rarely, if ever, seen Kizaru. So that's why Akainu, he immediately retreated. He was like, my bad, brother. My bad. Which is unlike Akainu. When Fujitora pushed Akainu, he pushed back. He's like, bro, what? That's his personality. With this situation, he read the room. He's like, all right, my bad. And it's typically, if somebody acts out of character in an emotional situation, typically you're going to be like, okay, you know what? This is an outlier. I don't want to fan the flames. And you're clearly emotional right now. My bad. This is unlike how you typically act. You know what? That's on me. So finally, Oda had to put a panel in front of you with not only tears coming out of his eyes, boogers coming out of his nose, literal pain on this man's face. That's what people needed to believe that somehow Kizaru was conflicted. And the term that's been floating around, mentally nerfed, which again, this just goes back to power scaling, but that's not the entire point of what Oda was trying to portray. That's why the Luffy versus Kizaru fight isn't really a fight anyway. It's literally a cat and mouse chase. Who can get what done faster, but it's warped into this annoying, just meaningless conversation about who's stronger, Luffy or Kizaru, when that was never the point. And, you know, I'm not going to act like I'm innocent because I engage in those conversations. But then when I try to move past it and say, like, yo, let's look past this, I feel like sometimes people just can't, and their toxic glasses are just stuck, right? Let's move away from Yonko versus Admiral for right now. What about this person, right? What was he trying to accomplish? How hard was this for him? That's what Oda was trying to convey. He's almost like Luffy versus Rob Lucci. Strength was never the purpose there. It was opportunity for Vegapunk to talk about Luffy's devil fruit, for people to see it, and honestly for Luffy to teach Rob Lucci a lesson. It wasn't necessarily like who's stronger. No, you know that. That's obvious. Let's dig deeper. So I love this panel because it kind of forces people to be like, huh, maybe you can. Maybe you can. I don't want, you know, it is what it is. It kind of is what it is. Now the strides are talking amongst themselves, Frankie, Jinbei. When they laid out everything they were up against and they still managed to make it out without any casualties other than the punks, it feels impossible. And even Jimmer's like, yo, I can't believe that. But the topic of conversation in this chapter wasn't even that. It was more about Zoro. Like the Kizaru thing was a topic, but people were, I was surprised when I went on Twitter how many people were upset or happy with Zoro. Zoro says after everything that transpired in Egghead, Zoro's like, he's a pathetic emperor. An old man dying shouldn't affect him this much. When I read it, I was taken aback. I was like, Zoro, what are we doing? That feels excessive. That feels harsh. And you had people saying, well, he's only known him for 1 day. He's only known him for 1 day. Yo, how long did we know Rebecca? How long did we know Kiros? How long did we know Chopper? Not saying, I mean, Chopper is different, but like, typically, the strides don't spend that much time with these people. It's typically 1 day, 1 or 2 days. Wano is long, right? Just also 1 day, 1 afternoon, right? A lot of these places, it's over like a short period of time. Like Zoro, after a week, a few days, he was swearing fealty to Luffy and crying, saying, yo, I will never lose again, my captain. But my thing is, it's never about the time you spent with the person. It's about the quality of time that you spent, right? You can spend 3 hours with somebody watching a movie and don't know them at all, as opposed to 1 hour engaged in conversation, learning about each other, and you connect way better than two people being in the movies just spending time together. So that conversation aside, that's not the purpose of it. I think the purpose was to accentuate who Zoro is on the crew, which it was difficult. It was difficult. I'm like, Zoro, you're being a dick. But in general, that's his role, to hold Luffy accountable. Where I'm waiting for the official translations to somewhat look at it for what it is before I accept this is what he said. Because again, time with somebody, that doesn't affect, or it shouldn't impact relationships. Him holding Luffy accountable, that's the spirit of what he's saying. Like, bro, come on. You're an emperor now. No man died. Okay, I get it, but let's go. We got to keep going. I get that too. That's his role. That's what he is supposed to do. Regardless of what he said, that's what he's supposed to do. We'll wait for the official before we cast official judgment. But I want to say that I no longer have an issue. Took me a while, but I've come to terms with it. Lilith wakes up. All the other strats are around her. They're happy like, Lilith, oh my God, you wake up. Lilith, what? They're happy. Now they're in ELBAF. Everything is bigger. They're talking about that. But then they go to like, yo, Lilith, my bad, bro. We couldn't save anybody else. It's just you. It's just you. Please forgive us. And now you said Atlas jacked you up, bro. Like, so if your head is a little discombobulated, I get why, right? And Lilith starts crying and she just stops immediately on some psycho. But I mean, at the end of the day, she's a satellite, right? She's not an actual person. There's jokes in here, right? Because Chopper's saying Luffy's so dejected that he only ate 5 bundles of grapes, and Lilith's like, yo, that's a lot. What are you talking about? But the conversation then goes to Lilith saying, yo, the truth is, everyone's alive. And for me, I've always maintained, like you guys know, that Vegapunk is not dead, Stella is not dead, because at the end of the day, Punk Records is still moving, is still breathing. The brain is still intact. And at the end of the day, until that is done, until somebody else has Vegapunk's fruit, why would I say he's dead? Why would I even think that? So for me, I've never thought this guy was dead. Lilith confirmed essentially the theory, saying, yo, everybody's alive. Now, some people didn't like that because they're like, yo, what was the consequence? So there's no consequence, the greatest event? You're telling me that nobody died? No. Well, yeah, essentially, they got out of there. They saved everyone they wanted to save. And Stella's death was just a catalyst. It was supposed to happen to trigger all these events. So essentially they won overwhelmingly. So Lilith saying this is not really explained. Like they don't get deep into it. It just says, yo, even if they're functionally dead, you know, and it's just basically what I'm trying to say. You kept your promise to me. So now Lilith is speaking as if she's Stella. Like you kept your promise to me. Vegapunk, we're good. But Lilith, I don't think she's lying because she even said like my emotions got, I stopped crying that quickly because I thought about it. Well, no, we're still alive. So it's like either all the personalities got merged into Lilith. But my question now is like, what if they destroy Punk Records? What if they decided, you know what, let's blow Egghead out of the water? Does she die then? Or is it one of those effects that last and she's just an effect of the devil fruit regardless because she's now living as a human? She gets hungry now. So she's just like a product of the creation. So like with Boa Hancock, she's like, even if you kill me, they're just gonna die. You need me to turn them back. They don't just automatically turn back even if you kill me. So it could just be that where she just lives as a satellite separate from Punk Records, even if the brain gets destroyed. But essentially because she existed and the satellite, because one of her was still alive, one of him, Vegapunk, is still alive, they're all alive. Now, I hope the conversation doesn't go here, but I want to just prepare y'all. Lilith is a woman who essentially has taken on the personality, and it's something to consider as well, it's interesting how at the beginning of Egghead, we thought Lilith was Stella and Vegapunk, just Vegapunk. And now essentially she is. She's the only one that's alive. So she is indeed what we thought she was, right? I like that. I like that. But Lilith is a woman, Dr. Vegapunk at this point, the only current one that's alive. Now, I'm sure Stella's consciousness will rear its ugly head at some point, but you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there because I know how toxicity can be. Like, you guys catch where I'm going with this, right? Where it's like, you get it. We're not gonna, if that happens, bro, I promise you, I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm not gonna even mention, This is essentially a war cry though, because they're like, yo, Luffy, like you're up, I bet, like, give us a toast. And you know, Luffy, he gets into it and he's like, yo, I don't care who's with me. I don't care who's against me because I'm going to be king of the pirate. You know, Luffy's typical thing, you know, and then everybody's going crazy. So it's like the shot that you want of everyone being happy. Robin's happy because Saul could be there. Of course, it's ELBAF. Usopp is excited. But at the end of the chapter, we see a silhouette. Now, you have some kid fans that, no, I didn't see a kid. Can you imagine if that's Eustace Kid, bro? And he's just there waiting like, yo, come on then, bro. Come on, what? Bro, we know what happened, bro. You don't have to fake. You don't have to front. But here's the two finalists that people have is Scopper and Shiki, right? People are saying this is the guy that Crocus was talking to in that coverage. And I'm like, probably, more than likely it's him, but like, who is this guy? Is it Shiki? Here is why Shiki, I struggle with Shiki because what's the purpose? Shiki is going to come back. He's not a threat, just considering, well, how old he is. And the final players, Blackbeard, Luffy. That's, at the end of the day, we can try to, you know, pigeonhole Shanks. We can try to pigeonhole Shiki. We can try to pigeonhole the man with a burn scar. The two finalists are Luffy and Black. Those are the two people that have three finalists. Luffy, Blackbeard, Buggy. Those are the three, all right? Luffy, Blackbeard, Buggy. This guy is going to make for an interesting arc, just considering an outside personality that's just not the Giants is going to stir things up. So I like the fact that this is coming to fruition, but Shiki, I don't know, Scopper makes a lot of sense seeing the final Rayleigh pirate being there to kind of see things culminate and give some more information. Because we don't know anything about Scopper, where Scopper went. I think I would like that a lot. Just considering like Scopper and what he seemed to have meant to the Roger Pirates, just disappearing off the face of the earth. Something about him, something. But Shiki's been 20 odd years since the Shiki declaration. I would like Shiki to come back too. So either way, I'm good. But break next week. We're not going to find out about this for 2 weeks. I don't, it is what it is. Just more time for us to have fun. But yeah, give me your thoughts, guys. How do you feel about it? I thought it was a good chapter. Very conflicting. This is one of the chapters that had so many opposing sides feeling differently about things, but it led to great discussion. And so, you know, sure, at least the same in the comment section. like the video, subscribe. I didn't forget about y'all. Bounty video incoming for sure. Also, let me know something. Do you want grades on the Straw Hats performances in Egg? Each of them. If you want that, you gotta comment, say yes, and subscribe. If you do that, then the video's coming. So yeah, appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe. The One Piece anime is on break this week as well, so not much in the One Piece anime. It's a good chapter. The Admirals, we gotta talk about them as characters too, because it's time to have that conversation. It's time. But yeah, like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at BrogDA, follow me on Instagram, BrogD.A. Thank you to my patrons. Appreciate you guys so much. Want to watch some reactions, One Piece reactions, live action reactions, Game of Thrones, Peaky Blinders, The Bear, JoJo, Attack on Titan, link below. All right, catch y'all next.